Hello and welcome again to another episode of our Haunted Pub Crawl, where we're still up in Scotland,
Yeah,
having a wander around and still getting drunk in the city of Aberdeen.
yeah, been quite a lot of pubs have come across just in that one city that are
Yep.
quite haunted. I suppose that area, there's a lot of places in Scotland have quite a rich history of fighting and castles and all sorts going on, fighting with the English, fighting with the Vikings and all sorts going on over the years.
Yeah, there's rumours of, in some places, that Mary Queen of Scots watched her lover be killed on some of the cobblestones outside pubs. So, yeah, it's a very rich history. And you've got Aberdeen Castle, and Scotland is, there's always been the war with England and
Mm.
very, very rich history. Um, so yeah, it's even now there's a lot of history being made in Scotland because there's lots of like nuclear bases up there, where Trident missiles I think are up there as
Yeah,
well,
you
and the
got the
subs.
RAF m- near Glasgow. Well, not near Glasgow, but around that area. It's like the UK's 851, they call it.
Yeah,
There's all sorts of like military secret sort of base up there or testing
Calvine
all sorts.
photo
Yeah.
was from up there. So it and there's a lot of open space in Scotland as well compared to England. It's a lot more spread out, less people. Um,
I suppose that's why places like Aberdeen that are probably maybe do have like quite a few different tales because there wasn't that many places to go. So
mhm,
you'd have a lot of people going to sort of the same place,
yeah,
maybe.
and I suppose with a lot of drinking establishments as well, if you're getting a mixture of a lot of different people, potentially there's going to be a lot of trauma in a particular area once people get a bit leery and start fighting
Yeah.
and such not. So yeah, yeah. So it is a great place, Scotland, and we are over the course of this heading on our way down from Scotland down to Land's End, but at the moment we're
It's still quite
hovering.
high up in
We are still
the
quite high up.
Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah, and this is our fourth instalment of this, where we're still not even out the first country. We're sort of not even making our way down towards the border yet, so that's quite cool.
But
That's
Scotland's
quite
a nice place. That's
yeah,
spend some
yeah,
more time up here.
yeah. I've never been. It's a place that I do want to go. I'd like to go to Edinburgh, Aberdeen. I'd like to go Loch Ness, obviously.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, so yeah, interesting. So you've got one in Aberdeen. I've got one in Aberdeen as
Yep.
well. Um, and so that makes five pubs over the last two episodes for
Yeah.
Aberdeen. And
Yeah.
who knows, in the next one we might even have at least one more. So
Possibly.
possibly. And you'll notice that in these episodes that, like the American state ones that we did, because we're talking about a specific pub, there generally only tends to be sort of one specific spirit or ghost story. So hence these ones probably be a little bit shorter than the
Mm.
American ones, but there'll be a lot more of them.
Yeah. A bit more anecdotal as well. I
Yes.
think where
Yeah.
it's like maybe tales that have been passed down from pub goers over the years and stuff like that, where it's not really anything too much to back it up. It's more like stories being passed down, but they're interesting all the same.
Absolutely. And
Looking
just a
forward
little,
to hearing more
yeah,
of them.
definitely. And I like a little side note to the paranormal and UFO encrypted stuff that we normally do. So just a nice little stories from
Yeah.
the old times.
And you might hear one of your favourite pubs
Mm.
in one of these episodes as we get throughout the country.
Weatherspoons in Whitney.
Well, I'll
It's
go
not
get
my
to the pub
favourite
where
pub.
I had my ghost experience in a pub.
Yes. Yeah,
We get to that probably in quite a while. How far down? Well, the
definitely.
northwest is from where we are now, but yeah.
Cool. 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 So we'll go straight into the first one. Hello and welcome to another episode of our haunted pub crawl. We still
Welcome.
remain in Scotland.
Yes. Lots of haunted pubs up in Scotland.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot
we're
of
still pretty
history.
high up as well. We're still up in Aberdeen way.
Yeah, yeah. So my two this evening are from Aberdeen.
Yep. So is mine.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of pubs in Aberdeen as well.
So I had
You know,
3 last week and 3 this week just from Aberdeen.
yeah, all
Mm.
haunted.
Yeah.
Right, so should we go straight in?
Yeah. Go with your first one.
So this is my one.
Ooh.
Excuse the bin outside, but so the first one on my pub tour is Krakatoa in Aberdeen. So Krakatoa, an Aberdeen bar formerly known as the Moorings, is said to be haunted by a ghost who took a disliking to the movement of an old price list board.
Ah.
Well, yeah, as I would kick off at that. When the when the owners moved the items, strange things started to happen. Items would be thrown across the bar, sudden cold spots would appear, and people felt like they were being watched. It's said a voice was heard saying, "Put it back." When they put the price list back, all the strange things stopped. So there's the price list, and there's another story about a Polaroid picture. So I'll delve into the price list bit again because we just briefly covered that. But for years, this bar had been home to an old price list. The bar owners already knew that there was something around the area, but it had never been proved to be dangerous or menacing. So, like Mark Cameron's that you spoke about before, that was last week, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or in the last episode, the bar taps would turn on by themselves
Yeah.
and things would move. But when they decided to remove the price list, strange things started happening. So cloths and entire mop buckets would fly across the room. The bar would become increasingly cold. And many people felt like they were being watched. It got to the point that the owners of the bar decided to call in a group of paranormal investigators. When they used their equipment, they recorded a voice which said, "Put the list back." And
Wow.
when they did, things went back to normal. Very odd. I
Hmm.
suppose that's one way of getting things back the way you like it, is to just basically haunt the place until they.
Yeah.
Until they
Make them take note.
yeah. So the second story concerns a Polaroid photograph that fell from the rafters. For years, a woman would visit the bar. Everyone knew and loved her, but one day she stopped coming. The owner of the bar was in his office one night and a Polaroid photograph fell from the rafters of the bar. It was of the woman who went missing, but it was dated from several years previous. Spooked, the owner ran outside, only to be greeted by a policeman who told him that the woman had died.
Ah. Interesting.
So, whether you call that a haunting or just some weird coincidence, that's quite a strange thing to happen at a pub. So, you got the
Mm.
price list and the Polaroid is of this lady that only gets seen when she goes and stops going to the pub. And then the policeman says she's actually dead. So, was that a sign, like people have like dreams where they see a loved one come in the middle of the night and they
Mm.
find out the next day that they've died in their sleep
Mm.
or whatever?
Could be.
So
That bit
that's
where
Krakatoa. Yeah.
where you said about like the like mop buckets and
Mm.
stuff around the room, it's like when you watch the Ghostbusters where it's like in the library and all the books and
Yes.
so just imagine the same thing, what with like mop buckets and
Yeah. Yeah.
everything flying around.
I cut. Yeah. Freaky. Freaky. There was also like the Battersea poltergeist when the girls at work. She was saying like scissors and everything were flying around
Yeah.
in the office. So yeah, I can only imagine what it'd be like to see this mop bucket and cloths and a very
Well, at least do some cleaning like while you're there. If you can move it,
100%. Yeah,
do
if you
some
can move
cleaning
it,
with
there's no
it. Yeah.
excuse.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Krakatoa, the first one on our journey.
Cool. And we're gonna go again, as we said, staying in Aberdeen.
Yep.
And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Cocket Hat pub
Ooh.
in Aberdeen. Only a little short one. I couldn't find too much information about this one, but the lounge bar of the Cocket Hat is reputed to be haunted by the ghost of the former landlord, John Walker.
Hmm.
Very Scottish name, that isn't it, John Walker?
It's the name of a whiskey, isn't it, Johnny Walker?
I think it's the shortbreads as well, but no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or Scottish whiskey, Scottish shortbreads.
Why did I go alcohol and you went biscuit?
Hmm. So Johnny Walker, he was first seen by barmaid Agnes McInnes in May 1973, 14 years after his death. She locked up for the night and had been cleaning the toilets. When she came out, she saw a man standing quietly, wearing a long coat and a hat with its brim turned up. She went to the bar, then returned to the man who was now gone. Agnes, a bit creeped out, then rushed to the manager who was in the kitchen. They looked around the building for the man, but couldn't find him. Upon describing him to her manager, Alex, he knew it could only be John who dressed that way. Agnes had never met John and was only a wee bairn when he died. Alex looked around the building once more, convinced that there was just somebody in the pub, but could find no sign of the ghost. His dog, who normally accompany him on his regular round, walking around checking everything's locked up, refused to come with him.
Oh, wow.
So the age-old tales of dogs and animals being able to know when something's not right.
Yeah.
Although the original pub was knocked down several years ago, and now replaced with a Toby Carvery of the same name, the spectre of John the landlord is seen out the corner of the eye, as reported by many bargoers, and a one-off experience of a whiskey glass moving across a table on its own accord has also been witnessed. So it looks like the landlord never left the Cocket Hat pub in Aberdeen.
So a guy like a ghostly sort of spirit with a top, like a hat on. That's like a shadow man, like a classic shadow man sort of character as well.
Yeah.
When we've spoken to Craig and that's the kind of thing he's described as well before, isn't it? So yeah, interesting. So that wraps up a couple of pubs in the Aberdeen area. I hope you enjoyed those, everybody. Like we mentioned before, if there's any pub that you want to see on our pub crawl on the way down, ping us a message and we'll be sure to look into it and try and add it on our journey. And if you've got any other pubs in Aberdeen that'll be of interest, let us know.
Yeah. And if it's close enough to one of us, you may even get a couple live from the actual location recordings done. That's something that we want to get done when we get a bit closer to where we actually live.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you next time.